emergency directors all right here. Okay, so if y'all can double up, we're going to have to double up. No, we're going to have to, if y'all want to double up as well. Multiple lines. If you don't mind. That way you're
The participants all know to open their mics, right?
They will.
Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Well, thank everybody for being here. So I want to thank everybody for being here, and especially all of the officials who gathered behind me, who participated in updating the status of what's going on, where we are, where we're going, what's needed, things like that. To start out, I would say that what we have observed in this entire Panhandle region is the aggregate of persistence, perseverance, prayer, resilience, and just an extraordinary response to those in danger. I have witnessed and observed some extraordinary damage in our state. It could be caused by hurricanes or tornadoes, and frequently when you see the aftermath of that damage, there's some semblance of a structure that is still there. When you look at the damages that have occurred here, it's just gone, completely gone. Nothing left but ashes on the ground. So those who are affected by this have gone through utter devastation. They are going through challenges that others cannot comprehend. They need our ongoing support, our ongoing assistance, and our ongoing prayers as they and we all work together to help this entire Panhandle region rebuild and return to the normalcy that's enjoyed out here all the time. I want to thank there's so many elected officials with us, including all of the county judges from the region, some mayors and other officials who have worked tirelessly for the people in their communities to make sure that their constituents were getting the response and resources that they needed during what may be the most trying times of their lives. I do want to thank several members of the Texas legislature who gather with us here today, but also who will be working ongoing to assist their constituents in this region. That includes Congressman Jackson, State Senator Charles Perry, and State Representatives Smithy and Price. I thank them for being here and what they have done and what they will be doing. For many local officials as well as for many residents and businesses in this area. Those representatives are a shortcut for you to seek and ask for and hopefully provide to you levels of assistance that you need. I want to also express my gratitude for the heroic response by firefighters. It's extraordinary to see what they were able to do. The largest fire in the history of the state of Texas cut a path so large that it exceeds the size of some states in our country. And it would have been far worse and far more damaging, not just to property, but also to people, but for those firefighters. As I understand it, there is one person who lost her life. Every life matters. And it's a loss for that family that can never return. But many more people would have lost their lives had it not been for fearless firefighters who put their lives on the line, some of whom were injured in the line of duty, working tirelessly to respond and beat back these damaging flames. Also want to thank all of the emergency management professionals. There's a time when there's a need, when candidly you can't sleep. Emergencies don't have a start time and an end time like 9 to 5. They're 24/7. And these emergency management responders have been responding to this emergency around the clock in every community across the Panhandle to make sure that their needs were met. Along those lines, I want to thank the Emergency Management Director for the state of Texas, Chief Nim Kidd, who you'll hear from here shortly, but he himself is a former firefighter. He understands exactly what these people have gone through from his own personal firefighting experience, but also through his experience as being the lead person in the state of Texas to respond to every disaster that we have in this state. And every official that gathers with us today representing every jurisdiction affected by this fire knows that they have had immediate and ongoing constant access to Chief Nim Kidd, who has a primary responsibility, and that's to make sure that the need of every governmental entity in this entire region is met. And he has delivered on that job mission. I want to thank all of the county and city road workers and other different types of workers like that that have cleared roads, whether it would be to clear them for purposes of fire breaks or clearing them for purposes of people to get through areas that have been damaged. But not just the road workers, the city employees, the county employees, or the local employees, that they too have been working around the clock to either protect communities or to restore communities as quickly as possible. One thing that we talked about in the briefing is going through a disaster of this magnitude highlights the importance of emergency management preparedness. And many communities had emergency management plans that were put into place that proved to be effective, and far more damage would have occurred had those plans not existed and not been executed upon. And I express my gratitude for those who had the plans. There are 14 state agencies and 45 local agencies, all of whom have been working together to make sure that the needs that are extraordinary are being met as we speak to help address the challenges that are being faced by these local communities. Some early, and I will categorize as premature assessments, show that there are about 400 to 500 structures that have been destroyed. There's no way to say for certainty that's going to be the final number, because there's still the ongoing assessment process. I want to go through several different things that have no particular order, but all of which I would say are important. One is, even though we gather at a beautiful moment in a day right now, everybody needs to understand that we face enormous potential fire dangers as we head into this weekend. No one can let down their guard. Everyone must remain very vigilant. Winds are going to pick back up. The right elements for a fire will be around. And as much as everybody has gone through this, all of us must remain vigilant to make sure that all the steps are taken so that we continue to prevent the loss of life and do everything possible to contain fires, to minimize the encroachment of fires upon homes and cities across the entire region. Another thing I want to say, and that is that there's several things that I've done. One is to issue the disaster declaration. The other is to make requests for funds from the appropriate agencies. Another is every waiver that has been sought to assist in the process that has been sought has been granted. And I will continue to do so to accelerate the recovery process. Recovery is a huge issue right now. We have people who don't have a home, don't have a place to go to. Their home is gone. And we as a state, we as a community, and we as Texans need to collaborate together to work not just on that restoration process, but that restoration process takes a while. We need to work on the process of finding immediate and temporary housing for these individual people. These people are suffering. Some entities that are working on that include the Red Cross. The Red Cross is working, the representative is here with us right now, working with displaced families. Local churches are working with displaced families. We have at the state level the One Star Foundation, the Amarillo Foundation, and there are others, perhaps from each community or county affected by this. We all will work together for both temporary and permanent solutions for those who have been displaced. We understand there's a need for speed. The Red Cross and the churches and others working on this, that they will be working with the rapidity that's needed to meet the needs of those who are looking for a place to stay. One thing that's very important, I realize we are in a time of chaos, but even during that time of chaos and in the immediate aftermath of it, one thing that I as governor need is as much of an assessment of damages as possible. One thing that I will be seeking to do is to make a federal disaster declaration request. And in order to be able to do that, there's a dollar amount of damages that must be shown that has been suffered to qualify for that request. And all of these local officials and others will be working to help aggregate the damages that have occurred that would help qualify for federal assistance in that regard. There's a need for debris removal as well as debris management. Debris removal because of everything that's already been victimized by the fire that's taken place and needs to be removed. And we will be working with local officials to make sure that they are able to manage that debris removal. We also need to work on the management of that so that it is not a catalyst for any type of fire that could be coming in the pathway. One issue that was frequently raised in our discussion is the need for greater air support, not just for this fire, but on an ongoing basis. And so there's two different time frames to look at that. One is the immediate time frame. meaning like today and tomorrow, over the weekend, as we may be dealing with other fires that could be arising here within an hour or a few days. We have, I am told, the adequate air support that's going to be needed to be able to help combat those fires here in the coming days. But then we get into the longer term. We obviously are here for the long term. And we, being myself and my fellow members of the legislature, and as well as Ronnie Jackson, we're all going to work together to find a way to put together the air resources that are needed for fires that are, let's say, more unique or different in this region of the state of Texas than some others because of the extraordinarily high winds that were sustained in this area that candidly make it difficult to fly. But there have to be planes available that can fly through those heavy winds, that can lay down the retardant or the water that's needed in order to be able to contain and reduce fires. So just know that we know that's a long-term solution that must be addressed, that we will work on. And again, just to repeat myself, we are prepared as we speak right now for immediate needs for air cover in the event that fires do arise here in the coming days. One thing that was stated repeatedly that's been a tremendous help is the amount of hay that has been provided from other areas, other states. And I don't have a list of the states, but I do want to say this. If there's any state, any city, any community that's provided hay, as governor of Texas, I want to say thank you for your help. But also, please send more. We don't know how long we're going to be going through this situation with inadequate hay for this region. So everybody here is very grateful for what's been provided, but we could use more. And we will continue to work on fire mitigation plans, both in the short term and in the long term. There's more to cover, but at this time I'm going to pass it off to Hutchinson County Judge Cindy Irwin.
So I just want to start by saying thank you to Governor Abbott for coming up today, and Chief Kidd for the continued support from day one that we've received from all the agencies. I've got the area judges behind me here, and we can't say enough about the support that the agencies in Texas have given to us. It's amazing. It was from day one. What can we do to help you? And we appreciate that so much. I want to really say a great thank you to our emergency management here in Hutchinson County. They are top notch. Jerry Langwell, Jason Whistler, and Jason Pender, and our volunteer fire departments, they're amazing. They have saved our county, and all of the support that we've had from the other agencies that willingly come and just help us. We appreciate that. We can't say enough. So just thank you. Continue to pray for our panhandle. We can use it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Al Davis.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Governor. First of all, I want to say that as the director of the Texas A&M Forest Service, our hearts really pine for you here in this region, and we wish you the best praise in your recovery as we move forward. I want to say, Governor, that Texas A&M Forest Service really values the relationship that we have with the VFDs and all the locals and all the emergency response agencies, and working in support of Chief Kidd. We have a number of resources here on the ground to include aviation, equipment, and most importantly, people. So again, we're here preparing for this weekend. Thank you very much, sir.
Now, Chief Kidd.
Thank you, Governor. And I want to echo Director Davis's thoughts. Our hearts and prayers with those that have been devastated by the largest fire in our state's history. And we're not leaving here until the fire is out and until we're well on the path to recovery, and we'll continue to support. A lot of our employees live in the Panhandle. And you see with the other state agencies that are behind us, their families are also impacted by these fires. I can't go any further without without praising our firefighters in this area. The men and women that took off from their work and their jobs and left their homes and their families to go and fight fire, it's not just courageous, but they brought expert skill, expertise, training, and really put their lives in harm's way. And the governor said it earlier, I'm going to say it again. This is the most devastating wildfire by acreage in our state's history. But for those local first responders, it would have been bigger and it would have been worse. And so my heart's out for them. We will do everything in our power to continue to support them. Going forward, life safety is still our #1 priority. It's the safety of the community and the safety of the responders. I ask all those that will be watching these broadcasts, stay fire aware and weather aware. Continue to listen to these local officials behind you. They ask you to evacuate. If they order you to evacuate, it is for your own safety. There is no wrong decision made in ordering an evacuation. And I can tell you, mayors and county judges have the toughest job on the planet in deciding when to do that. They get beat up all the time after the fact because your life got saved and your home got saved because you were asked to evacuate. But if you were asked to evacuate over this coming weekend because of the fire conditions, please have a plan, know where you're going to go, and have your vehicle full of fuel and ready to go. Life safety is our #1 priority. Property protection is our #2 priority. Please continue to support your local responders and the state resources that we have brought in. They are moving around 24 hours a day trying to make sure that we're getting ahead of this fire, containing the ones and gaining containment on the ones that we have. And I also need your help, and let's go through this weekend with no new starts. Over 90% of wildfires are human caused. We've got to get the message out. No new starts. We do not want to divert resources from our existing fires onto a new start fire. Finally, the state resources that are here have come from far and wide, Governor. We've got them from down as far as the Valley into Houston and in the Woodlands, San Antonio, up the I-35 corridor. We will continue to push resources in here, ground resources, heavy equipment, and aircraft in here as long as they're needed. As we focus on recovery, the recovery mission will be long-term. We need immediate terms right now. Thank you to all of the faith-based organizations that are stepping up with the sheltering operation, but sheltering will turn to temporary housing. We will continue to work with the state agencies that are not represented here yet, but will be, for state housing missions that we can work through, and our federal government partners. And finally, donations management is usually what we call the disaster after the disaster. Thank you very much to all of those that are donating. Please go to the websites and listen to your local officials about the donations that are needed, and continue to donate. And cash is always the right size and the right color. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll take a few questions.
Governor, recognizing there was extreme fire behavior, there were extreme winds, we've had a number of people that have told us that they felt the fire approach, that there was little or no warning, and they felt even public safety didn't realize how fast things were moving. Were the warnings adequate? Was there anything that slowed or delayed them? Can anything be done to improve them as we have more fire this week?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and it's been asked a lot. And I want to, talking to our local partners here, your local TV meteorologists have been talking about fire conditions of last Tuesday for the last 7 to 10 days. Out of the state, we've been pushing those messages out since the Thursday before the fire happened. Listen, this is where it has to be a partnership between the elected officials and the appointed officials, you as the media, and our citizens. That message has been broadcast, and it will continue to be broadcast, and I need you to continue to get it out. But I also need your help in convincing people to pay attention sometimes. It is hard to get the attention of some of our citizens because we spend a lot of time on the phones looking at things that aren't important. Emergency notification systems are great. They are nothing like the situational awareness that I need you to help me instill in our community. We've said it multiple times today. Tomorrow's going to be a bad fire day. There will be people that will be caught by surprise for that, and I need your help in getting that message out. We will continue to push it.
Governor, you mentioned one fatality, but we have heard additional reports of possibly a second fatality in Gray County. Could you try to clarify that for us?
Sure. So I've heard about the possibility of the second fatality that you mentioned, but have not received confirmation of it yet, and hence I didn't want to report it.
Governor, can you talk about the long-term impacting on livestock ranching here in the area? I don't know if you've been in touch with Sid and talking about just what ranchers can do to recoup any losses. I know you mentioned hay for livestock and bringing it up here, but is Texas prepared to face an issue with this, livelihood, because this was such a rough fire that took out so much ranch?
the short answer is yes. We're prepared to take whatever actions needed. But more precise, there are certain funds that are available, certain grant funds that are available to address issues like this. Those will be looked at to see if they qualify. Other than that, there will be other efforts that can be made. We know that the loss of cattle is extraordinary, but it goes beyond that. I mean, look at the grass they feed on. Look at the fences that kept them in. Different things like that. So we're looking at the big picture holistically about ways in which we can assist both the ranchers and the farmers to be able to recover from this. Yeah, please, well, hold on a second.
And if it's okay, I'd like to add a little bit more. Everything the governor said is accurate. We'll continue to work with the Texas Department of Agriculture. But you also have the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension agents that are here in each one of these counties, and they're going to continue to be here. The grant process and the state and federal grants for agriculture can be tedious and cumbersome. Our goal is to have in each county a place where those ranchers can go to get the right information about the right grants, because every one of them will have a little different application process. The short answer is we will continue to do our part to support them as much as we can, and we have the resources in place today for them to start talking to.
Did you foresee though a long-term impact on bee production in this area because of what's happening?
Do we foresee a long-term impact? I really think we need to ask the ranchers that. I mean, there's Roberts County, 9% of that county is burned. Right, there's going to be an impact in that county. But for the independent producers, that's a conversation we need to have with them about what that short or long-term impact will be for their organizations.
What steps can citizens take to mitigate fire damage to their properties?
Great question. Al, you want to hit that?
Certainly. The big thing is, first of all, we have a website, Texas A&M Forest Service. We also have grants for individual homeowners to be fire-wise, to do mitigation around their homes, to reduce fuels and what have you. So again, go to our website, Texas A&M Forest Service. It will give you some specific things that homeowners can do to be fire-wise and to protect their homes.
Where do the investigations stand for points of origin at this point in time for the multiple fires?
I'm going to say we're going to continue to work with our local partners to do cause and origin determination. I would say all of that is still under investigation at this time, and I have received no official report yet.
Sir, you mentioned that the cost is part of what will make this a federal disaster. Does cattle and livestock count in that number?
So, great question, and it's going to be a little bit of a complex answer. Under the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, livestock does not count towards those thresholds. And that's why we've put one of our team members from the Texas Division of Emergency Management in every county with every county judge to help the citizens and the ranchers be able to know what grant programs to go to. We will continue to open disaster recovery centers. We'll need your help getting that message out of where and when they will be, so that the individuals, whether they're just a homeowner or a producer, can come and get the answers to those very complex questions.
Governor, 10 years ago, the Fritch area had a devastating fire where we lost hundreds of homes. Most of those homes were low-value homes and from people, frankly, that were low income. We received no state aid because of the low income, low value. Here we are again, and a large portion of homes lost is the same situation. These people need help. So how can we see that they get state aid?
Right, and to add to that, one of the things we were talking about before we came out here, and that is that a lot of the people who have lost a home had no insurance. And so there are a lot of people in great need right now. And that's the exact kind of thing that we work with, whether it be the One Star Foundation or other foundations, where we work to help people rebuild homes. But we need to gather more information, who does, who doesn't have insurance, different things like that. Then we can go about that process.
Is that good? Are you saying that it will be a different process this time as it was 10 years ago?
I can't tell you what happened 10 years ago. Okay. What I can tell you is that we have processes and organizations in place to assist with this rebuilding of homes.
Governor, you mentioned injuries to firefighters and first responders. Do we have any idea, a number or severity of those injuries?
So I know on the very first night we had 3 firefighters that were burned, treated, and released. I've been led to believe we have one that jumped off a truck and may have a fractured lower extremity. I think we heard one a rib injury right now. But again, great work by those local first responders and then all the resources coming in. Life safety is our #1 priority, and that will include those responders. I need them to be safe out there.
Governor, what can you tell us about a federal command structure for dealing with this fire and the implementation?
Would you said federal? I missed federal what?
Federal, working with the federal government as far as like the U.S. Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management, Bureau of Affairs, as far as command and control structure for dealing with this fire.
Got it. Yeah. Great question, and I'm glad you asked it. #1, in Texas, all disasters are local, and these county judges behind us are the emergency management directors for their communities. The state resources that are here and any federal resources that come in work at the direction with the blessing and consent of these judges behind us, part 1. Part 2 is we will continue to bring in state and federal partners. There is a national incident management team that is here with us today, and they will take over the organizational control of this and help us order additional resources as needed. They're an expert team. We've worked with them before, and we're glad they're in our state right now.
Two more questions, guys.
Chief, can you tell us which area actually sustained the most structural damage when it came to property? We're hearing Fritz was kind of like the brunt of everything. And another part of this question, can you also explain like basically how active the fire is now? We're hearing it's smolder. Can you just kind of talk about what you're seeing today?
Sure, and I'll let Director Davis add into some of that as well. But you know, from the damage perspective in your populated areas, Rich, Canadian. We talked to the judge there, and you know, she's not here with us today because she didn't feel like she could leave her community because of the devastation there. I'll be traveling there early next week, if not over this weekend. What we see in home damages, we really is hard to explain right now because some of the fire, to your point, smoldering, still too hard to get into and count those damages. All right. So let's talk about smoldering fire and fire line. With a 1 million acre fire, it's a little over 550 miles the perimeter of that fire. So think about that in sheer scope for a second. As fire continues to smolder right now, with the wind picking up tomorrow, the relative humidity coming back down, one ember can pick that up and drop it outside. Please do not get wrapped around the axle on containment percentages. Everybody wants to know what percentage container are we today. I do not want that to lead you to a false sense of security. As far as fire weather through this weekend, it's going to be a very active weekend. Al, anything to add to that?
I think you've covered it very well, Chief Kidd.
One more question, folks.
You said something about the air containment, bringing in like air support. Is there something that has happened with this fire that's going to make the way Texas looks at a region like this that needs so much air support for fires like this?
Sure. It's something that when we realized that because of winds, because of other challenges, there was air support that was not provided initially. If it had been provided, it's possible that the fire could have been more contained. That's the kind of thing that lets me and other decision makers in Austin, Texas know that if we can provide the type of equipment and personnel that will be able to better fight fires like this, it's something that we need to step up and do. Bottom line is we want to make sure that we don't have a repeat of this type of fire in the future. Maybe the best tool that we could add to the toolbox to prevent a fire like this would be better, different types of planes to make sure that we would be able to drop retardant and other material that would slow or stop a fire.
Thank you, everyone.
You got it. From one border to another.
Thanks very much.